How's it going, guys? Sold Out here, bringing you the brand new card reveals we got today. I don't know if I'm gonna make one of these every day for all the reveals, but I figure that as we get more, if we get like 16 so cards a day, that would be like enough for me to warrant making a video about. But if we only get like 5 or 6, I'll probably like lump them together and then go from there. I'm gonna try not to spend too long on each of these cards and try and get them through them pretty quick. We have about 30, so I'd rather not to spend more than a minute on each one. But I'll give some general thoughts on each. First up is quite powerful Lilia Bashful Bloom. It's the new Calm Mind Legend. She says 4 tap, play a ready 3 might sprite token here. And then this ability costs 1 less for each friendly unit with 10. This is just good. This is just like pretty solid. I mean, even if you're paying the full 4 to make a ready sprite token, like that's not terrible. You're able to do a lot with this where like you're able to contest the board every turn without actually spending any cards in your hand to do that. Where Ilya really shines is being able to contest the board every single turn with ready units without actually having to spend any cards in her hand to do so. So I think we will see a lot out of this legend. Next up, we have Diana, Scorn of the Moon. This says tap reaction, add 1 energy, spend this energy only during showdowns. This is just really good. She is Mind Chaos. There's so much stuff you could do with this in Mind Chaos. Use that 1 energy for Ride the Wind, for Rebuke. Being able to threaten Rebuke with only 1 energy left, and then like tap your legend to like make a second energy. That's really good. Threatens like Stupefy, Smokescreen, all of these really strong cards. I think what people don't realize about this though is that it says Showdown. It doesn't mean Combat Showdown. So like you can very easily get value out of this by on turn 2 just moving your 2-drop into an empty battlefield and then using this to like play whatever you want. And with the new ambush mechanic in the set, which we haven't gotten to yet, you're able to ambush allows you to play units at reaction speed, which means you can play them during the showdown. So that's very interesting. I think we will see a lot of this character this set. Just the colors alone are quite strong, and this is a very flexible ability. I think is quite good. Next up, we have Inferna. She is a 2 energy, 1 might red unit with Ambush and Assault 2. Ambush says that you can play me as a reaction to a battlefield where you have units. Um, this is just a really solid card. It's like a 2-drop, but it's also a combat trick. I see this card being very strong in the upcoming meta. We have Eocilia. This is a 7 and 1 power 6 cost green unit that says when I hold at the start of your next main phase, you may move an enemy unit to this battlefield. This card's terrible. This card's like unplayable. Like I don't know if I would even put this in like a draft deck. Like I don't know. They the play patterns with this card just don't make any sense. Like I'm going to untap with 7, play this to a battlefield, pass to my opponent and hold. No, right? So I have to play it to base, pass to my opponent, comes back to me, I move it up, pass back to my opponent, comes back to me, and then I finally get value out of this card. So that's 3 turns that it took after like the 3rd turn after I played it that I actually got value out of this card. Just absolutely terrible. The only other play pattern is like I have 10 and I spend 7 to play this and like hold 3 up to hold. But that also just isn't very good at all. Like this is like it's a 6 might unit. Like, this thing does not hold extremely well. This card's just unplayable. Next up, we have Master Yi Unstoppable. This is 12 energy, 3 power for 12 might. This is green. He says level 3, I cost 2 and 1 power less. Level 6, I cost 4 and 2 power less. Level 11, I cost 6 and 3 power less. And then level 16, I cannot be chosen by enemy spells and ability. Level is a new mechanic in Unleashed that has to do with experience. Um, this card, from what we have gathered about experience, it is not incredibly hard to get, but it's mostly centered around being able to conquer and being able to hold battlefields is like the main way that you generate experience, which basically means that you're never getting to 11. Like it's going to take you a while to get to 6, like multiple turns to get to 6. You're never getting to 11. Of course, there's going to be new ways to get experience. Maybe they release a spell that gives you experience, or maybe some sort of gear that has a requirement that gives you experience when you meet that requirement, stuff like that. Generally speaking, um, even if you got to level 16, this guy's still kind of underwhelmed. Like it's really good at like once you get there, like it is good, but like I think the amount of work you have to put in to get there and like the floor on this card being so low, I think most of the time this is just gonna be a 12 cost, 3 power vanilla, and that's just not good enough. Next up we have Gem Hand Hunter. He has Hunt, which it says when he conquers or holds, he gets +1 experience. And then once you reach level 6, he has +1 might. And then you reach level 6 when you have 6 experience. This guy sucks. Like, no, that's not true. He's fine. Like, if you kind of want this hunt effect on your small units, because your smaller units, in the early game are going to be more likely to conquer and to hold. But other than that, he does literally nothing. So this guy's basically entirely dependent on like that getting that early game experience and being good. We just don't like at the moment we just don't have payoffs for experience. Next up we have Frigid Touch, which is a 2-cost blue gear. This card's just not very good. It just says that when you draw a second card each turn, give a friendly unit +2 might. It's not hard to achieve that, but the +2 might payoff just isn't enough, especially in the early game where +2 might matters the most. You cannot like justify spending 2 energy to play this card. Doesn't do anything really. All right, next up we have Downstage Dramatics, which is a 2-cost blue spell with reaction and repeat 2. It just simply says draw 1. And like honestly, that's like fine. This spell plays really well with what blue's trying to do. I think blue purples especially will take a big advantage of this card. You can play it with Ezreal and Vex. Basically, drawing 2 for 2, which is like justifiable, especially if you're trying to like get through a lot of your deck. Like we saw with the Jeweled Gemstone, the card that we saw previously that like gave a unit +2 might when you drew a second card. If that's a common theme in the set, then something like this might be really strong in order to trigger this. Now we have the crowd favorite. This guy is a 3 energy, 3 might orange unit that says hunt. When I conquer or hold, gain 1 experience and spend 2 experience buff. This card is unplayable. Speaking of unplayable, we have Dancing Grenade, which is a red spell that costs 2 and a power. It says deal 2 to a unit. Its controller may play the spell again for power. If they do, it deals 1 additional bonus damage for each time this spell has dealt damage this turn. This card, I don't know what they were going for with this. It's almost incomprehensible trying to read this spell. I read it initially as I thought you were the player who were like replaying the spell over and over to like deal 2, deal 3, deal 4, right? But then I read it again and I'm like, oh, wait, no, you deal 2, and then your opponent gets to deal 3 to one of your units if they want to. The way that I currently understand it is it's sort of like a boomerang. Like I deal 2, my opponent deals 3, then I deal 4, that sort of thing. In which case, this card is unplayable. This card doesn't do. Your opponent's never going to deal 3 damage to one of your units. There's no reason for them to do that. It's a terrible trade for them. This really is just a 2 energy, 1 power, deal 2 to a unit, which is like only okay at best. Like at that point, I guess it can hit base, right? So it's like maybe better than Incinerate, but like hardly, right? Next up, we have Otacon. This guy is a 10 energy, 3 power for 7 might. Okay, chonky guy. You may kill a friendly unit as additional cost to play me. If you do, I cost 1 less for each energy it costs, and power less for each power it costs. He has ganking, and then when I attack, the defender must kill one of their units here. So it's sort of like a pseudo Cole effect. I don't think this card's particularly good. It's very obviously, we haven't gotten to LeBlanc yet, but this card is like designed to be played in LeBlanc. Basically, the kill a friendly unit portion, it wants you to kill tokens that have costs on them. LeBlanc makes tokens that have costs. And then so you'll kill the tokens with costs. The problem is that that's not very good. His like attack effect is kind of whatever. Most people are going to be playing around this to some degree, especially for the payoff, which is like a 7 might ganking unit, which is like not bad. I guess that's fair. You know, it's having my ganking, and I say that out loud, and I'm actually like, I actually written down. I was like, this guy's not very good. It's like he's like fine, you know. Next up, we have the Abandon, which is a 2-cost purple spell reaction. It says counter a spell, return it to its owner's hand instead of putting it in their trash. And then it has predict, which is a new keyword. It says look at the top card of your main deck. You may recycle it. It's very similar to Vision, but I guess Vision is like a unit exclusive keyword or something. So they put predict on it. This is basically just like a better hard bargain. It just like like cuts your opponent off of whatever spell they wanted to do on a turn. Very good against like big blowout spells like Decree, Cathian Rain, Time Warp, Progress Day, any of like those sort of like 5+ cost spells. This card is really good against. Almost sort of oppressive in a certain like light. It's like you're just putting your opponent like a whole turn behind you, and one turn is like a lot of time in Riftbound. So yeah, this card seems very good. Seems very good. It'll probably see main deck play in Annie, you know, just depending on like how the format shakes out. Next up, we have Ivern, Friend to All. He's a 6-cost, 6 might yellow unit. Says as you play me, choose bird, cat, dog, or Poro. I gain that tag. When I conquer or hold, score 1 point if your units have all of the following tags among them: bird, cat, dog, and Poro. This card is like fine. It's like mediocre. It's like a 6-cost, 6 might that like becomes a bird, cat, dog, or Poro. So it like sort of fulfills 1/4 of his other effect, which is to give you extra points when you conquer or hold while you have all 4 of those unit types on the board. It seems very conditional, requires you to like kind of already be ahead. Most of the time, this is just going to be a 6 might vanilla card. I would be very surprised if Ivern actually played this. Next up is a big card. We have Ash Focused. 5/1 power for 4 might yellow unit. This says when you play me, choose an opponent, they reveal their hand, choose a card revealed this way, and banish it. When they hold, return it to their hand, even if I'm no longer on the board. This card is crazy. This card is very good. It's effectively a 5-cost Mind Splitter in yellow. This sort of like when they hold, return it to their hand effect, I don't think ever is going to come up. Holding is so difficult to do in Riftbound. This card is very good. It's in yellow. You can like hook into it. You can like play it, hook it, or like get it off of hook and then hook it. It's literally just Mind Split. It's just Mind Splitter in yellow. It's very cool, very good, very strong card. Very impressive. Next up, we have Vilemont, which is an 8-cost, 2 power, 8 might unit. Green has Ambush, which is the you can play me as a reaction to a battlefield where you have units. Enemy units here with might less than me don't deal combat damage, and when I hold, draw 1 card. This guy's pretty good. You know, it's a really big guy, very expensive. He has Ambush. That's pretty strong. You know, enemy units with less might than me don't deal combat damage. Most units are going to have less might than this guy. He basically just makes them all useless, right? It's just like, if my opponent has a board full of Rasa and I move this guy in, all my opponent's Rasas just don't do anything, right? So it's pretty scary, right? He's hard to swing into. The normal way that you would out this kind of unit is you would swing like a 4 might and a 5 might, or like 2 5 mights into him, and then he just says like, no, you can't do that, right? And then he threatens you card draw when he's like, if I'm holding, I'm drawing 1 card. So you kind of do have to deal with me. That's all really well and nice. That being said, I don't think he's that much better than the current sort of Voltron units that we have, like Ornn and Aurelia and whatnot. He still just like dies to all of the same removal. You know, just going based off of set 2 and kind of what the meta was like here in the meta in set 1. Voltron style units, like really big guys, like defend the castle sort of strategies, don't usually work out. They're just too susceptible. So your opponent's going to have more removal than you will have counter spells. Next up, we have Upstage Comedy. It is a 2-cost red spell with repeat 2 that simply says ready a unit. This spell is like fine. We'll see later. This is like intended to be played in Jin to, you know, ready cards, you know, move them around. This isn't really an effect that red is in dire need of, but I could see this seeing some play, especially with the ability to ready 2 units. Not bad at all. It's like pretty decent. Next up, we have the signature spell for Lilia. We saw Lilia earlier. She, you know, makes the sprite token. This is 2 and 2 power, green blue, reaction, counter a spell. Its controller can't play spells this turn. This card's pretty good. This is like one of the, I think maybe the best counter spell in the game now. You know, it's just power crept wind wall. It silences your opponent for the rest of the turn. In terms of spells, they can still play units and gear, but like if your opponent was trying to like defend with like rebuke and Thoth and blah 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 blah, you go boom, lullaby, and then they're shut off, right? Very strong. I think this will definitely see probably 3 of it in Lilia if I had to guess. Basically, like protects all of your plays, shuts your opponent out. Really, really strong. Mirror Image. This is the LeBlanc signature. It is 3 energy and 2 power for a signature spell. It says choose a unit, play a ready reflection unit token to your base. It becomes a copy of that unit. Give it temporary. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with the Atacon, whatever his name is. You play basically copies of units that you control. This can even target units your opponent controls. You can basically just make a copy of it. It enters ready, and then you can like move it, do whatever you want with it, and then you can get big value by like sacrificing it for like Hook or the Otacon guy, right? It should be noted that this doesn't trigger ETBs, token copy of a creature. You're not going to trigger its on play effect, but you will still trigger like Death Knell and the like. So very strong. Just like take your opponent's best guy, trade into it, do whatever you want with it. Seems like really solid to me. Here we go. 4 energy, 3 might for a red unit. Has deflect and has 2 red power. Double my might this turn. This card is very interesting. I like that it has deflect, some sort of protection. Still dies to a single falling star proc, which isn't great. This double my might this turn isn't once per turn, so you can do this multiple times, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. It's a 6, 12, 24 might for 6 energy. That's a lot of might, Who deck is really defending against 24 might, This could go even higher than that as well. I'm not sure what deck you're supposed to play this in. We haven't gotten the Biolegend, so maybe it's like good in there. But my biggest issue is that even in a deck like Annie, which would want a card like this, it's not really even that good in Annie. Like where you double its might a bunch of times, you go in, you wipe their board, you flash back to base, rinse and repeat, right? The problem is that you're spending so much power to do that. Like even if like double once is your 6 might, it's not even bigger than Darius, right? So you have to double at least twice. That's 2 power to do that. You never want to be spending more than 2 power in a turn. And already you've reached your budget. You could maybe like pay for this with gold, or if you can generate power other ways. But generally speaking, I think there's just like better units to play. Like you don't ever need 12 might on it, like 24 might on a guy, right? Opponents aren't going to be holding with a large amount of might, especially if you have a buy in your base, right? So it's sort of solves a problem that doesn't exist. Is very strong, maybe will be good at some point. The ceiling on this card is, pretty decent. So not a bad card by any means. I'm just not really sure what they want you to be doing with it. Next up, we have Jin, Murderous Artist. This is 4 and 1 power for a 4 might unit. He has deflect, ganking, and when I move, add 1 energy and 1 power. This is 1 power of any color, mind you. So this card is this card is most certainly the strongest unit they have ever printed. And it's not close. It's not close. Deflect and ganking, already insane start. The way that you would counter a unit like this is you would falling star him in base, right? That's how you beat like Red Kaisa in set 1. It's how you beat like Draven in set 2. You just like falling starting in base, boom, dealt with, right? This guy has deflect. You're not falling starting this guy. Not on turn 2, not on turn 3. Your runes are gone. You're gonna lose. If you try and falling start this guy, you're gonna lose simply because you have no runes, okay? Why does he have ganking? I don't know. I couldn't tell you why he has ganking, to be honest with you. He didn't need it. He didn't need ganking. And then it says, when I move, add 1 energy and 1 power, which is not once per turn. You can do that multiple times. With 1 energy, you can go move up, add 1 in a power, 2 energy and a power now floating in your mana pool. Ride the wind with that 2 energy and that 1 power over to the other battlefield. Trigger again, add another energy and another power. Okay. Back to base, another energy, another power. So you have 2 energy, 2 power floating. You falling star your opponent. Rebuke you already took both battlefields, right? But like, you just generated energy and power from a ride the wind turn, right? It's like, And it combos so well with Ride the Wind because he has ganking, right? Like, this is literally the best card. I could not have dreamt of a better card for Annie than this Jhin card. This card is absolutely giga busted. You know, you flash it back on your opponent's turn, add an energy, add a power, boom, rebuke for 1 power, right? The main issue I have, the only issue I have with this card is that I fear I'm going to run out of cards in hand to play because I just have too much energy and too much power, right? I can just play my whole hand with this one dude, you know? I genuinely feel like I'm gonna run out of cards. Like, I genuinely think Void Seeker is gonna make a huge comeback because of Jhin. Like, if I have to can play Void Seeker for 2 energy, deal damage to my opponent and draw a card, keep my hand filled while also making use of all these extra resources, like that is really, really, really strong. Honestly, I don't know how this guy made it through. This card is unbelievably broken. Unbelievably broken. This is Diana, no longer human, 4 and a power for 3 energy. Purple unit. It has ambush, and when you play a spell, give me +2 might this turn. This unit's like fine. Okay? I think what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to like move a guy up like a watchful sentry or something, play Diana with the ambush, and then like use the legend effect to play like stupefy or something, and then you just like make her really big so she wins that combat for you, which honestly isn't a terrible play pattern. Like, it's totally reasonable to be like, I have a guy in my CC that at any point can come down and just blow you out. That's not nothing, right? But she kind of only does it once. After that, she has no defensive keywords. She's a natural 3 might, which means she dies to Falling Star. I suspect, whatever the blue Diana is will probably be better than this. I don't think any non-Diana deck is going to want this. It's a cool like idea for a chosen champion, but outside of that, it's pretty useless. And then we have the same card again. This is almost exactly what we just saw with Diana. This is Rengar Trophy Hunter, 5 energy and a power, 6 might, ambush. I can be played to a battlefield where there are enemy units, even if you have no units there. It's effectively the Dead Bloom Predator text. He can be played to an occupied battlefield. This is almost exactly what we just saw with the Diana, except you don't need to like swing in a Watchful Sentry. You can just like slam him on the board. The problem is he only has 6 might, and that's just like not enough. I don't see how 6 might ever. You just slam 6 might on a board and that ever does anything. Especially if this guy's in your CC, your opponent like knows about it, they're playing around it. I don't know. I don't know what they were going for with this. It's just like the worst Dead Bloom Predator of all time. Next up, we have Nidalee Cat Form. This has 3 energy and a power, 4 might, ambush. When I win a combat, draw 1. This card's pretty good. Not really much to say. Like, has the ambush, so you can like play it as a combat trick. Has the Draven text. When I win combat, draw 1. Really, really solid. Really solid. It's cheap, easy to get on the board. Only qualm with this would be is that 4 might's not a ton. It's not like super easy to win, combats with only 4 might. That being said, she's in orange. Normally you're gonna have some way to like modulate her might value, but then like you go back and you think, well, if I'm spending a card to modulate her might value, then I'm not actually gaining anything when I draw a card, right? I'm just going neutral and card advantage, which like is maybe fine. Maybe that's good enough, right? I think most likely this card won't see play. I just think it's like a little too awkward, despite, I think the ceiling on this card is pretty decent. I just don't know what deck is taking advantage of this sort of effect. So pretty decent card, just a little awkward in like how you are supposed to get value. Next up, we have Mutated Mouser, which is a 2-cost, 1 might green unit with shield 2 and tank. This is basically just a green Poro, but they put tank on it. And it like attacks for 1 less. Attacks for 1 less and has tank. The notable thing on this is that it has the cat tag, which means it can be played in the Ivern deck. Next up, we have Moss Tomper. 3 energy, 1 power, 3 might, green unit. Hunt 2, and then when you have 3 experience, he has +1 might and deflect. This card is pretty much useless. The only interesting thing is that he has Hunt 2, which gives you 2 experience on Conquer or Hold, which is more 2 is more than 1, right? This card will only see play if experience is like super valuable. Like you need experience. This card could maybe see play. Otherwise, it's like just like the worst 3-drop of all time. Next up, we have Vexed Gloomist, which is the Vex legend. She says, when you or an ally hold, you may exhaust me to draw 1. It's basically just Grove of the Godwillow on a legend, which is fine. Like, it's kind of uninspired, kind of boring. Not every legend can be, super fancy. Like, it's completely dependent on the cards in this color, what its CC is. Like, this effect by itself doesn't, isn't good enough. It is very funny though when you compare it to Draven. You're like, Draven's drawing 4 cards a turn, this thing's drawing like 1 every other turn, maybe, holding isn't particularly easy to do and usually requires resources to pull off. I don't know. Now we get to LeBlanc. This is one of my favorite cards so far revealed. LeBlanc Legend, LeBlanc Deceiver is Mind Order, same as like Victor. She says, when you conquer or hold, you may discard 1 and exhaust me to play a ready reflection unit token. It becomes a copy of another unit there. There referring to the battlefield. You have to play it to the battlefield that you conquered, and then it becomes a copy of another unit there. Give it temporary. This card's really crazy. This card's real good. Being able to just like have imagine you have a 4-cost guy, you go in, conquer, discard, make another 4-cost guy. Now you're defending for 8. Give it temporary, kind of, obviously that's not great. If you're able to like sack those temporary tokens for like value with like Hook, like we said, the Otacon earlier, there's a couple other things you can do with the temporary tokens. You can like hide a Hidden Blade, defend for 8, temporary trigger, flip Hidden Blade, right? That's like really, really crazy. That's like really, really good. Being able to convert the cards into your hand to Might on board is like basically all any Riftbound deck is ultimately trying to do. Very strong, very strong. I like this card a lot. I think it might end up being the best blue yellow legend. Next up, we have Kha'Zix Void Reaper, which is the orange purple legend in the set. He says, when you win a combat, gain 1 experience, similar to how Draven works. He says, spend 1 experience, buff a unit, and then he has spend 1 experience, tap, buff a unit, and then spend 2 experience, tap, move an exhausted friendly unit from the battlefield to its base. This card is super underwhelming. Super underwhelming. He's in purple. He has like the win combat text. So if Draven is anything to go by, this guy can maybe generate the most experience of any deck so far. Right now, we don't have any, like, these effects that he has, like move an exhausted unit to base is like cool. Not like super broken or anything. I think Kha'Zix will ultimately depend on what the hell can we do with experience, which is a common theme so far in the reveals, is that we just don't have no context for how good experience is. I think Kha'Zix I'm putting pretty low in my mind. I don't super love this guy. All right. We have the Jhin Legend. This guy is Jhin Virtuoso, red-blue legend. He says, when you play a spell, if you spent 4 or more, you may banish it. Then if there are 4 or more spells banished with me, put each in the trash, channel 4 runes, draw 1 card. This card is very interesting. It says, when you play a spell, if you spent 4 or more, you may banish it. That doesn't mean the spell has to cost 4. It just means that you have to spend 4 when you cast it. That includes stuff like repeat cost. We saw that new repeat spell earlier that readies units. You pay 2, boom, that would trigger the Virtuoso. That being said, 4 mana for a spell is a lot. You're not going to be doing that more than once a turn. If that, a lot of like the high cost spells are super conditional. I think he'll might end up just turning into like a Progress Day bot or like I think Progress Day bot is like super likely. Like you just like play Progress Day, draw a bunch of cards, just play a bunch of high cost spells, and then like channel a bunch of runes, and then you can use your high hand quantity to like leverage the amount of all the runes that you just channeled, right? That being like outside of that, doesn't really do anything else. I think most likely this will just be like, I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards and I'm gonna play a bunch of removal spells, and then I'm going to like Giga outramp you. Kind of seems just basically what Kai'Sa's doing. This almost feels like worse Kai'Sa to me. Here we have Green Father Ivern. This is the Calm Order legend of the set, similar to Leona or Azir. He says, when you conquer or hold, you may exhaust me to replace that battlefield with a brush battlefield token. So basically, you take the battlefield that exists, you remove it, you put the brush there. The brush says, Bird, Cat, Dog, Poro, and Ivern units have +1 while in brush. And then the brush goes away if your opponent, when it's scored again, you can swap out the brush for the battlefield, or if your opponent scores it, they can swap the brush out for the battlefield. Kind of a complicated, like kind of a weird legend. Not, I don't know, complicated—it's the right word. It's just like replace the battlefield with a token battlefield, and the token battlefield is basically just like a Trifarian for this quad typing, basically the bird, cat, dog, Poro. Um, there's a lot of problems with this legend. Being forced into, card types is never good. Like we saw how that turned out for Rumble. His colors are atrocious. Green, yellow is not really where you want to be. Those just aren't great colors as we like. I don't know. I don't like those colors at all. I'm super low on Ivern. He's like one of my least. I don't think this guy's very good at all. And that's it. Oh, okay. So that's all the cards that we got today. Overall, we got some real stinkers and some real bangers. That Red Jin, I think, is absolutely crazy. I think that it's not only broken in Annie. I think any sort of deck with movement tools can take advantage of him. I think it might see some play in like Red Orange. Orange has a lot of movement tools as well. And that card is very scary. I like most of the legends we got. I'm really a big fan of. Lilia, I think, is really really strong. Diana, I think, is really well positioned, and we got some stinkers, like the moss dog thingy that has hunt. The whole experience thing as a whole is giving me real bad vibes. I really don't like the experience. I don't really know what they want you to do with it. I mean, it'll probably become more clear as we get some more cards, but just like very very odd, very odd. Really really excited to see where the set goes from here. So far, all of these cards have been very, like, at the very least, they're all interesting, and that's what I really appreciate. My big problem with set two was that all of the cards were just not very interesting at all. I don't know. It's not really like a thing you can quantify. It's just like a vibe. But I'm very happy so far with the cards we've gotten and unleashed. So if you guys like the reveal videos, like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to do more uploading and kind of starting something simple with unscripted, just giving my thoughts on the new cards. If you guys like that, stay tuned for more Unleashed content. See ya.